What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Black Lady Chiha bringing you another video on this game Black Deck. And we have another event starting off tomorrow. Once this artifact upgrade event ends, we're going to have the artifact collector event that starts tomorrow. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the rewards. You're going to get from beginning to end coins, gems, energy, essence, coin, energy, gems, release summon token, fragments, gems, epic tome, legendary tome at the very end. All right, and you need 5,200 points to max out this event. And again, getting epic and legendary 6-star gear, or just legendary gear 5 and 6-star gear at the very least, is optimal, but we don't have control over that, right? So get as much of the higher tier or higher rarity gear as you possibly can, as much as you can of it. Again, it's RNG based. You're not going to get as much from there. So the remainder of this video, I'm actually going to go over something someone asked me to go over before, and that is the best cards or the best decks in the game. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so we're going to go through the codex and we're going to go through the top 5 decks that I believe are the best decks in the game. And then we're going to go into Arena and look at the top 5 decks, or the top 5 placing decks that is currently in Arena. All right, so this is in no particular order. Okay, first deck we're going to go over is Wasteland Calurus decks. The reason being is Calurus makes Wasteland cards absolutely busted. You get a shield on your Cursed Puppet, and I've seen people have a couple of those. You get a shield on your Rat Kings and on the rats that are summoned from Rat King, right? You have cards like Storm Rod, who can hit 2 cards in a single turn, up to 3 cards with an extra strike set. You have cards like Electro Archer, who I've seen in some of those decks be very, very, very good. You have Iron Golem and the other element golems as well. Okay, so those cards make those decks, or that deck specifically, one of the most dangerous decks to play against. Okay, next deck we have is the Dragons. The biggest reason is because of Howling Star. He is what makes Dragons busted. If he was gone, Dragons wouldn't be as good. They'll be good, but nowhere near as good. Why? All of your dragons are ranged cards, so they do not take damage when they attack unless it's a card that has a Fury set or Retaliation set on it, right? So all these dragons get shield. They get 2 buffs from this guy, right? And again, outside of those, with those buffs and the shield, it makes dragons really, really difficult to kill. You have to have cards that can hit multiple cards at the same time and do piercing damage on those cards as well. Okay, and it's better if it's more than 2 cards when it does piercing. Just saying. All right, so that's that deck. Next deck, you know what's coming. Goblins. Why? You have Goblin Exterminator, Half Jaw, and the card I used to think in the beginning was trash, Goblin Bomber. My goodness, was I wrong. This card is stupid busted. It can attack in a cross pattern, which means it can hit up to 4 cards depending on where the attack is supposed to be going. Up to 4 cards at the same time. It attacks from range, so it doesn't take any damage when it attacks, right? Yes, when it does die, it deals 25% of this card's max strength, including buffs of damage to all other units when it dies. So that includes your own, right? So it blows up your own cards as well as your opponents. This card is nasty. You put a piercing set on this card, and you have pretty much the perfect counter on the goblins in order to get around the dragons and the Caluruses, right? So, and then you have the other goblins as well that you can use. You have these 4 elemental uncommon goblins. They're not the greatest, but they do work. You have Goblin Rifleman, and you have Goblin Chieftain, who does give goblins, I believe, double buffs. Okay, so those are those cards for that. And I went through 1, 2, 3. Let's go to number 4 in this list, and we have King of Callum decks. Now, with King of Callum decks, they are a very, 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 very unique deck. They often run cards like Jester, 1 or 2 of those, right? Maybe they'll run a Stone Gargoyle, maybe, if they have access to it. But a lot of times they are running slimes. And the reason why they run slimes is because it does poison damage, so that's extra damage that it does do, right? And it lasts for 3 turns. It summons 2 additional units when it's booked up to level 4. So you're going to be dealing multiple damage on multiple layers or multiple levels with just 1 slime. Now you have a 9-card deck, put 4 slimes in it. If you're not seeing the bigger picture, that's what it is. So that's what makes that deck so dangerous, along with the fact that it transforms, it weakens everything, right? See, it debuffs all other units by 75% of this card's max strength, and that's when it's maxed out, right? It buffs itself by 20% of this card's max strength for each ally. So if you have a full field of cards, 8 other cards, it's going to buff itself by 20% for each of those cards, right? And then buffs all other city allies, which is where Jester comes into play. Okay, so that deck is ridiculously dangerous. I used to underestimate it, not no more. All right, and last but not least, this is going to be surprising, even for me, because I haven't seen this in top play in a long time, and that's Runa Sacred decks. Now, Runa Sacred decks are using artifacts. And I'll show you guys. Oops, not that. There we go. So they are using cards like Extra Strike, as you will see on this card, the Storm Rod, right? So they'll put Runa Sacred in Extra Strike sets. Then they'll run cards like slimes and various things along with that as well to make it a lot more challenging. So let's go ahead and go to Arena, and let's see what the top 5 decks are currently in the current meta. But again, those are the best decks to use if you are in this game, you're trying to play competitive, right? So let's look at it. Runa Sacred, as I just mentioned, has an Extra Strike set, like I just mentioned, has a slime, like I just mentioned, right? And you don't need to have multiple slimes as long as this card doesn't die when it first dies, right? And it doesn't have the ability to summon again, you're usually golden, right? Get to summon out another token, another 2 if it was booked out to that level. Then you have your lightning lizards to do shock across other cards, right? This deck doesn't seem like it should be in the top, but it is, right? You have your Will-O-Wisp, which I said is pretty strong. I've said that in the previous video. Deals damage of this 6% of this card's strength of damage to a random enemy when it receives damage. So when it's attacked, it's gonna do some damage, right? And it has a seal set on it. You have a shaman in here. You have Portal Mage, which is another card that does make this deck a lot more challenging to deal with, along with the Griffin in this version of the deck. Again, it doesn't seem like it should be, but it is, right? Then we have Kendrick, not Lamar, but we got Kendrick in here, and he's providing shields with 1, 2, 3 cards that has built-in taunting in its kit. You have a Bloated Fungus, which is going to do a lot of damage in this version of the deck. You have Frostbiter, which is going to do some damage. You have Cultist, which is going to cause some confusion and control. You have Harpy, which is shocking. You never see a Harpy in the top, but you're seeing a Harpy. This is weird stuff that we're seeing. Calurus, like I said, Storm Rods, Rat Kings, Cursed Puppets. This is one dangerous deck to deal with for anybody. Oh, and look at this. You got the King of Callum. I forgot to mention they do run Watchers in this deck, and that's just to give yourself multiple ways to attack and to do damage without having to rely on your hero. Ooh, I said a mouthful on that one. Let's keep going. Calurus deck. Oh, we have a Spider deck that's nasty. I wouldn't want to play against that one. I would not want to. Calurus. Goblins. King of Callum. This is another Wasteland deck. Like I said, this card can be broken if built correctly. So this is one of those ones that I believe is built right. And I'm not going to hold this video on too long. It's already long enough. I'm ending the video right here. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when the content drops. Holla back at your boy. Peace.